Eric, since kind of all of our lives have been turned upside down. And joining us today, we have Eric Person, the CEO of the Central Connecticut Homebuilders and Remodelers Association. Eric, all of our lives are dramatically different than they just were only 2 weeks ago. Let's start with how your day-to-day and your life has changed personally.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like I think most people. We've transitioned from working in the office to working out of our homes right now. The great thing about technology is we can all be accessing our servers and files and documents. So we're making adjustments and making do with what we're doing, and we're still trying to stay in touch with our members as much as possible, and provide a lot of resources that we can find about how to continue the operation of businesses, as well as resources for just day-to-day operations for small business people.
I've seen an uptick in HBRA emails. You've curated a lot of really valuable information for the members. One of those pieces was dealing directly with which businesses are essential and which are not. Are the majority of the members or all the members considered essential businesses at this time as we sit here on Tuesday, March 24th?
Yeah, and that's one of the sort of the neat things about the association is that it's a federation structured association. So when you join, Central Connecticut or Fairfield or Northwest, you're part of that local association. You're also part of the Connecticut Homebuilders Association, as well as the National Association of Homebuilders. So in the past few days, the resources we've been able to gather from Washington and NHB, as well as at the state level, have been critical in making sure that our members have been listed as essential businesses and staying open. NHB was able to work with California last week in getting language to make sure that construction was considered essential. So they got that out to all of us at the local and state level, which we were able to use with some of our friends at Shipman and Goodwin, the law firm in Hartford, who does a lot of the land use planning things, also is very connected to the governor's office. So over the weekend, we worked with the governor's team, Shipman and Goodwin, the state HBA, number of people to really make sure that construction was considered essential. And not just construction and real estate, but and you think of it just, somebody's going to build a new house and is this the right time? But it's more about, making sure that people that can provide services to homeowners, whether it's repair, remodel, especially right now, you never know there's always things that will break in our homes, and you never know when you're going to need those people and those services. So we made sure that we tried to make sure that all the construction people were kept open, and the supply chains as well, so that the materials could get to where they needed to be in the next few weeks.
I have to say, and I'm just to dive in here real quick, I think what is so wonderful, I guess if there's any sort of silver lining to everything that's happening right now, I think so many times people sometimes question, what do these groups do? What are you are kicking ass and taking names where it's this is why these organizations are set up. This is why we join these groups. This is why, you become part of sort of these communities so that you can, again, I think that executive order was sort of announced on a Friday, and you had probably 24 to 48 hours to actually fight your cause with the governor to make sure that all of your people within the HBRA could sort of be on that exempt list. And then by, Monday at 8, they were. So again, kudos. And I think that if there is any sort of silver liner, it is actually being able to see what all of these, groups can actually do for their people in a real time of need.
Yeah, and it really is critical. That's I think the real value that we offer our members. And we do some of this, obviously not as much on a day-to-day basis, whether it's working in Washington on making sure there's a 30-year mortgage for people buying homes, and all sorts of different issues. But obviously we transitioned to full-time working and advocating on behalf of our members right now at all three levels of the association. And there's so much that people see us do, whether it's the home show or whether it's different membership meetings on a monthly basis. And those are all wonderful, and they're great networking opportunities and great resource to promote members. But we do those things so that we can do this when we have to. And resources.
I love it. Love it.
Are there any members that you've seen that have really innovated in a big way? And I know we're only at the beginning of this, but early on, have you seen anybody take such a hard pivot that you'd like to recognize as as someone that's taken action during this time and doing what they can with less?
Well, I think, all of our members have really adjusted very quickly, just since I think this week, to keep their businesses open, to keep their employees, employed. And I haven't heard of anybody who's been laying anybody off or furloughing anybody yet. So I think that's a testament to everybody in the association. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback, just as you guys have said, about the communication that we've been putting out there. But it really started I think it was about 10 days ago on the Friday. I think it was the 13th. We were closing up the office, getting ready to leave, and one of our members had sent an email saying that they heard that I think it was the North Haven town hall was going to be shutting down. So quickly went in and immediately sent out an email to all the members asking, have you heard any towns that are doing this? Because if they stop doing building inspections or stop recording deeds and things, that's just going to shut everything to a halt. Which again, we then communicated with the state building official, and he put a notice out to all the officials, say, hey, you need to stay open, and you may modify things. And quickly, last week, we had members that were doing some inspections with their building departments in East Hartford that were doing them by FaceTime and doing them remotely. So the building officials felt comfortable. They weren't getting into any situation where they're close to people or in any sort of a dangerous situation. The members were able to continue with the inspections and make sure that everything was done properly. So I think we're going to see a lot more of those kind of things, that people are creative with how they stay open. They're going to do deliveries. They're going to do curbside pickups with building materials and things. And it's going to be an interesting couple of next few weeks.
Well, I love too that instead of like complaining about these town halls potentially closing, you provided them with an alternative of how maybe they could efficiently do it to satisfy what you guys needed to accomplish too. So instead of just complaining, like there was like action and ideas. So I think that that's fabulous too. And I'm happy to hear that they're open. I mean, it's good for all of us. It's good for all of us in sort of the home real estate life sort of branches for sure. So I'm glad that you guys were able to pull that off. So congratulations there.
Thank you. Yeah, and and as I said in one of the emails, it's really, I think, this sense of the association really has that sense of community, and I think that's an important piece of this, is that we're all, isolating ourselves and keeping distance from each other, but there is still very much a strong community out there of people in the industry, the construction, the remodeling, the real estate industry, and I think that making sure that they stay connected, they're still sharing ideas, they're still sharing best practices. It's very important, and again, we can all sit here and complain about what's happening, but that's not going to solve anything either. So I think we just need to, innovate as much as we can with our services and our member services. We're going to be pushing a lot of those emails you've seen about who's staying open, how they're staying open, pushing those out into social media so that hopefully the consumer will also see what's out there and that they still have access to some of those critical resources.
Right, which is great, because obviously you hear so much about like the restaurants that are sort of open and how you can sort of gain access to them. So it'll be great to learn how you can, gain access to, because like I saw even an email from Connecticut Lighting, like you can still go there just by appointment. So
right.
That type of information is certainly important. So
yep, we got a lot of people that are doing apartment only, even making selections on whether it's flooring or lighting and things. They're saying to the builders saying, you can make those selections by appointment. You can't just go walk in with an open retail store, but those are still happening, so it's good.
Yeah, the innovation has been incredible, really across the board throughout the country with small business owners, not just in the home building and remodeling industry, but really across the board. It's been really fun to watch small business owners and medium-sized business owners innovate in a time of need. We're live here with Eric Person, the CEO of the HBRA of Central Connecticut. If you've got a question for Eric and you're watching this live right now, feel free to put it in the comments and we'll get to those questions here as we wrap up. Eric, in terms of the members that are reaching out looking for timelines, nobody has an answer to that. What are you telling them right now if they have that question?
Yeah, I think the timelines that's a tough question, and I don't think anybody really knows where this will end or how it will end. I think that our advice is just to do as you said. I mean, everybody's a small business owner, and that's part of this. And that's, I think, one of the keys of being a small business owner is you have to innovate and be creative every single day. And I think that's what members are doing. I think the biggest question is going to be not so much when it ends, but what's it going to look like on the other side, and what's going to happen, and how are our daily lives going to change from day to day, and even the economy, the local economy and the state economy. I think those are going to be some big questions that we have to work through. And I think again that's where it's going to be critical for the Homebuilders Association, the chambers of commerce, all sorts of different business groups that are out there to be there and to have the access and the resources for our members to make those transitions.
Now, go ahead. You have something?
No, I was just going to say there's been a lot of small businesses that haven't completely dove into technology or sharing information through, say, social media. Do you think when we do get through this, that more of the members and small business owners in this industry are going to see the need quite clearly to shift some of the ways they've operated in the past going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are going to transition to more of a technology-based business, or at least to have that network there and those resources there, so that whether it's another situation like this or it's just ease of telecommuting and making, still having business survive and operate when there may be a snowstorm or, your kids are home sick from school or something. I think we're going to see a lot more of this kind of activity. We see more, even we talked about before we went live, our kids in school and things. We may see more of, the days of snow days may be over because everybody can now.
I have heard that. My husband is a teacher.
Learn online.
He did say that.
I'm a big believer in that. I don't understand why, if there's snow on the ground, we watch cartoons instead of using the internet, which has been around for a long time, right? It's been around for many years.
It has.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think there's going to be a lot of changes that will come out of this, and I think the other part of what will be interesting to see on this is, with our members and with everybody in this, is to see what new innovations come out of this, and what how we use technology differently. And I think that's going to be the interesting thing that we'll see is there's going to be a whole new business or segment of business, I think, that will be created because of this situation.
Now, I know that we're still sort of like at the beginning of all of this, and I think a lot of people are still kind of like reacting. But obviously, you are sort of on the front line when it comes to these home builders. And I feel like there's been a little bit of an uptick, or maybe a large uptick at the beginning of 2020. Are your builders still feeling confident? Are people still keeping contracts together? I mean, again, I know that it's still sort of early, and obviously we all want to be optimistic, but I'm just sort of curious what you're hearing from them, because even when we did the Parade of Homes, they were able to, put a lot of deals together. So are they staying together? Are they getting any kickback? I mean, obviously they're getting a ton of questions, but I'm just curious to hear sort of what they're saying.
Yeah, we're hearing very positive things, and as you said, Nicole, it's still extremely early in this whole process. But I think last week we were talking to some of our remodeling members that were out bidding on jobs and still pricing things. I was just speaking to one of our members who does garage doors, and he said last week and yesterday were some of his busiest times. He's sold.
Well, because they're stuck home looking at them.
Right, exactly. Well, they wanted to upgrade their garage doors for the spring, and he said, they've kind of changed what they do just with going out there, and there's no contact. He said we do everything by email. He takes a picture of the house, takes the inserts the picture of the new doors on there, sends it to them with a quote, and they say yes or no, and then he installs them when they're not in the garage and things. So I think a lot of people are changing like that. Again, even on the new construction side, the year was starting out very, very strong. Even nationally, I just saw today, and the reports for February numbers came out, and they were extremely strong February numbers for new home sales across the country. And even in Connecticut, we started to see some of that in the early part of the year. So far, those haven't pulled back yet. And I think, this goes to some of the stories and the value of new construction and even remodeling your home. It provides a safer and a better place to live when you've got a new home and you've got some new construction and remodeling going on. So I think there's some of that people are saying, what, it's time. And if we're going to be stuck in our house for a long time now, or even working in our house, this may be the time to upgrade the house or to get a new house that we really want to be in. So.
Right.
Absolutely. Eric, everybody's got a little bit more time on their hands, or more time, I would say, at home. Are you finding with the new problems that you're actually working more hours than you did before because you have new issues and new problems to solve, or has your workload decreased?
Personally, I think it's stayed about the same. We've kind of pivoted to what we're doing. And just for myself, I'm trying to kind of keep normal business hours just as we would. And I think with like your businesses, we all work in the evenings. We work at on the weekends and things, just because of, as you said, technology and the ease of it. But I think that so far, personally, my workload has been about the same. It's a little different than driving into work every day and doing the regular office thing. But again, I think that for all of us, I'm trying to keep a normal routine, trying to get up. I've set my bike up in my office here and get on my bike in the morning, go for a ride to the trainer and things, or go outside and do some exercise. So I think that trying to keep as normal of a routine that we all normally have is important.
So you showered this morning?
I did shower this morning, yes.
You have sweatpants on, or
I shaved for the first time in a couple of days.
Did you just dress up from the waist up, or are you like?
I'm not standing up right now. So.
I love it. Eric, as we wrap this up, what's one message you could share with people to keep a positive and healthy mindset as we all move forward in this new era?
Well, I just think it's important, as we've said, and as you've titled this segment, One Community. I think we are in one community, and I think it's important that we remind ourselves that even though we may be in home or not going to our normal routines in our offices or work and things, that we still need to be mindful of that. We still need to reach out to each other, still need to support each other, whether it's through technology like this or other ways, and certainly with phones and FaceTimes and other digital ways of communicating. I think it's still important. I think still check in on your loved ones, on your neighbors, and see how they're doing. And as I said, we're trying to change what we do, and we're trying to stay in touch with all of our members in a different way than we typically do. And I think it's just important that we continue to do that. We've got a lot of very positive feedback from the members that like the communications we've been doing. And again, there's not any face-to-face meetings that we have planned right now, but we're trying to make sure that we can bring together as much information for business people as possible. I think across the board, we're in this together, and we need to support each other.
If a home builder, a real estate professional, a remodeler, or anything to do with that part of the industry wants to join HBRA of Central Connecticut or wants more information, where should they go?
Yeah, they can go right to our website, which is HBRAcentralCT.com, and there's a join button there. You can see that, but there's a section called members, and at the bottom of one of the sections there's a resources and links section that we have. We're posting a lot of the communications that we have on the COVID-19 resources. We're putting those up there so that members have access to them. The general public has access to them as well. Whether it's the Small Business Administration disaster relief funds that were out there, there's some payroll information on the Families First Act that was passed a couple weeks ago. So there's a lot of tools for business people, and if you're also if you're a homeowner looking for somebody to do a project in your home, we have our full membership directory up there, and you can search by category or by company name and find those professionals that you want in your home.
Great. We'll link that up. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Thank you.
As we work through this, we'd love to have you back here as more things change and we learn more about how to work through this new era here.
Yeah, I think we're all learning together, and it'll be interesting. But I'm certainly available in my home office here. So,
Eric Person, CEO of the HBRA of Central Connecticut. Thank you very much. Be well.
Eric.
Stay healthy, my friend.
Thanks, you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
It's ending.